Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to talk about a Newsweek article that I stumbled upon because it echoes a narrative that I see gaining a little steam. And so, as you know, when I see a conversation happening, I definitely want to weigh in to make sure all sides are shown fairly. And of course, we all know what side I'm on, so we're going to go ahead and roll with it. So let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you have not already, feel free to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell. I want to say a big hello and a big thank you to all of the members. And I'm going to say a big hello and thank you to the Patreon members. And I'm going to curtsy to the Royal Court. Thank you so much for being members of the channel and for all that you do. I want to say a special thank you so much to Leola Brown, who sent in another donation for my trip to Invictus Games. I cannot wait to go to Invictus in September. I cannot wait to cover it and share my experience and share what I observed, and hopefully I can get close to the couple, maybe even meet them. I know they're gonna be busy, so probably not, but you know what? I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. If I gotta throw some bows to the other spectators, we gotta do what we gotta do. Clear the room, clear the room. Just kidding, don't get me banned. But in the meantime, I did think it was important to address a topic that I keep seeing come up. It's kind of crazy because the first few times that I saw this narrative, I ignored it. I was just like, surely people aren't stupid, so people are not believing that. Ain't nobody think about that. Ain't nobody believing that. But when I went to a little shopping mall, I went and did me a little shopping, I actually passed a newsstand and I saw 3 magazines with very similar headlines. And I was like, oh no, sweetie, we need to go ahead and do a video so that we can get a counter argument out today. And so I came home and I Googled this conversation, and Newsweek had a pretty nice summed up article. It kind of provided a little bit of intel as to where this argument is coming from and why people are saying it. So what is the argument in question? There is a narrative running that people are sick and tired of Prince Harry and Princess Meghan's whining. That is the term that's being used, whining. These grown people. I'm not even going to get into the enabler conversation. I'm not even going to get into the conversation that when you intentionally try and silence victims, it perpetuates the problem. And then they're not the last of their kind. There are more victims that come through that cycle because it wasn't ended. It's not about plucking 2 people from a toxic cycle, although that's a great benefit. It's about not allowing the cycle to continue and cause more victims and more bodies in the wake. So we're not even gonna go down that road because I've gone down that road. If you don't know what I've said about that before, feel free to check out my other videos. But today, I want to address 4 main topics in this article. So let's get into it. Once again, the title of this article is Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, quote, whining did not go over well with Americans, and it was written by Jack Royston. Now, that name sounds familiar. Please let me know, have I read him down before? I feel like we've had to bring him to the carpet before. Let me know. All right. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix series, quote, marked a turning point and, quote, did not go over well with Americans, according to a royal biographer. Christopher Anderson, the author of Brothers and Wives, suggested a swing against the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in the United States public opinion was due to a torrent of complaints that appeared petty. Before we even move forward, he is a royal biographer, and I'm sure he's very qualified, but let me just say this. I already read an autobiography by someone who was there, who could speak on it from first-person perspective. I already read a biography, an autobiography, and then I'm also recapping another biography by Andrew Morton, and it's called Diana, Her True Story, and we're recapping that bi-weekly on Friday. So those are the 2 biographies and autobiographies that I trust, but go ahead, Christopher Anderson. All right, the couples released a 6-part docuseries, quote, Harry and Meghan, in December, which was followed weeks later by the Prince's book, Spare, and interviews around it, which one does when they're promoting a project. The intervention was one of a number by US-based commentators that have recently reflected a differing view of the Sussexes. Anderson told The Times, quote, the Netflix documentary marked a turning point. There was the torrent of complaints, many of which seemed, for want of a better word, petty. The whining did not go over well with Americans. His comments followed exclusive polling by Redfield and Wilton for Newsweek, which showed Prince Harry dropped 45 points in his net approval rating between December 5th and January 16th, while Meghan dropped 36 points. Also told the Times, the real issue is that Americans don't like their royals acting like reality TV stars. Oh, we're going to dig into all of this. Just, if I can just have you sit still, sit on your hands for a second, because if it's jumping out at you as I'm reading through this, trust, it was jumping out at me. Perhaps more concerning still for Harry and Meghan is that there are signs of a disconnect between the couple and social progressives on the very question of the monarchy. And culture critic told Aisha Harris on the NPR show Pop Culture Happy Hour that she was quote, a pretty big fan of the couple, but was starting to get frustrated. Quote, I'm definitely starting to kind of see or at least understand why people are feeling a little burnt out on them, Young said. Their grievances are valid. I'm starting to get a little frustrated with their apparent lack of any real self-reflection and their place within this institution, because I think that Harry specifically, there seems to be an inability to recognize that it's not just about family members being mean. There is a historical harm being perpetuated by the existence of the royal family that he can't seem to quite get to, she said. Quote, he just wants them to be nice to him, but I don't think he seems to understand that the reason they can't be nice to him is because they have to keep upholding this harmful institution. Also, a guest on Pop Culture Happy Hour said that neither of these people, Harry or Meghan, are intellectuals, while adding, I don't say that to be insulting or shady. Then what place did that have in the argument? And not only is it rude and insulting and shady, all the things you claim you don't want to be, it's also very inaccurate, and we're going to get to it. This is a man who has been deeply heartbroken by the loss of his mother, she said. You kind of just want to give him a hug. Yeah, but instead you decide to go on a podcast and insult him. Interesting how that works. Kristen Meinzer, the host of the By the Book podcast and former co-host of Newsweek's The Royal Report, said on the show, quote, for everybody who's upset about Harry and Meghan, I think they're forgetting that a lot of the public was also exhausted by Charles and Diana at the time when they were airing their dirty laundry. Quote, a lot of us forget the memory that it wasn't just the stories that each of their offices was leaking to the press, but Charles himself had a tell-all book with Jonathan Dimbleby that he co-wrote. He had a nighttime primetime special with Dimbleby where he told all also. He was doing it, Diana was doing it. All right, that's the end of the article. And so I wanted to talk about 4 main points that just leapt off the screen at me as I was reading that. Here's the thing. I don't always get things 100% right. I can always vouch that I do my best. And when I'm corrected in the right way, I will definitely, do the research as to the best of my ability and make corrections as needed. But here's the thing. I feel like there's just this wanton lack of preparation before these people go on a public platform, on NPR of all places, on Newsweek of all places, and say things like, they're not intellectuals, they're whining, they're not successful to Americans. So I want to go by the 4 main points of this article, and I want to talk about it from an American standpoint, because I am an American. As a matter of fact, I'm a Texan. Remember the Alamo and the Battle of San Jacinto. So I am American. I was born in Germany, but we're going to talk about that later. I was raised in Texas. So I'm going to speak about this from an American point of view, someone who is American who actually does enjoy talking about the royals. One, they kind of talked about the success of Harry and Meghan, the docuseries, and said that's when the frustration began and that people were no longer interested and they're tired of them and burnt out. Those were all the comments, right? But let's go ahead and recap. Harry and Meghan was 6 parts, 6 segments divided into 2 premiere dates, 3 on the first premiere date, and then 1 week later, the other 3 that consisted of part 2 were aired. Both premieres were successful and they maintained success. People continued to watch well after the premiere date. So here's the thing. If we're working with their narrative that people were frustrated or sick of or not interested in Harry and Meghan, okay, let's say that they're telling the truth. Let's play their game. If that is true and the reason they did tune in to Harry and Meghan was some sort of morbid curiosity, okay, so then why did they tune into the second premiere date? If they were just curious, but they were frustrated and over it and not interested, and they tuned into the first premiere of part 1 just because they were morbidly curious but still not interested, then why did they tune into part 2? And not only that, but why did they keep tuning in? And since the article specifically centers Americans for some reason, Americans, I want to talk about Harry and Meghan documentary and its success in America. So let's take a look at the Nielsen streaming chart ratings. According to The Hollywood Reporter, which I trust a hell of a lot more than Newsweek, the documentary amassed 1.69 billion minutes of viewing time in the US for the week of December 12th through the 18th. But we're not interested. It grew by 34% from its premiere week. And if you can remember its premiere week, everyone was talking about it. It was absolutely everywhere. And that's just in the US. It was also successful in the UK. But we're tired of them. We're over it. According to CBS News, the Harry and Meghan documentary was the highest viewed documentary premiere ever on Netflix. Ever. And the documentary scored higher than The Crown. And we all know how successful The Crown is. Now, too, I want to get into another part from this article about Harry and Meghan's personal ratings. So the segment that I want to discuss specifically is, quote, his comments followed exclusive polling by Redfield and Wilton for Newsweek, which showed Prince Harry dropped 45 points in his net approval rating between December 5th and January 16th, while Meghan dropped 36 points. Let's talk about this. Why are you asking for approval ratings for private citizens? Do y'all remember when they did this to Hillary Clinton? After she lost the election, or the election was ripped from her, hey, I say what I said. After the election was rigged against her, Hillary Clinton went on about her merry way. And for months, many publications, just like Newsweek, continued to hold polls in her approval. Well after the inauguration and that orange Cheeto took office, they were still polling on Hillary Clinton's approval rating. It's something they do to keep busy. When they've decided they're obsessed with someone, they go all out. And it's no different than Harry and Meghan. So Prince Harry and Princess Meghan, as I said so, they are people. They are no longer working senior royals. I don't see approval polls on Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. I don't see approval polls on Sophie, even though there should be, because she is a working royal. Like, why are you asking for their approval when they're private citizens? It doesn't make sense. Also, point number 2 on that. These polls are conducted by biased platforms. How many progressive people read Newsweek? How many people out there actually consider Newsweek to be an unbiased source? The people that they pulled for this article had a specific narrative in mind. And the people that they pulled to conduct this poll had a specific narrative in mind. Further to that fact, trolls flood comments and polls and any kind of engagement possible so that they can drive down what appears to be approval for people they hate. They do it to Beyonce. They do it to Harry and Meghan. They do it to everyone. When a group of trolls has decided they have a target, they lean in. I don't see anybody who actually is either unbiased or supports Harry and Meghan, even on Newsweek, to conduct these polls or to even respond to these polls. So of course they're going to reflect what trolls think, because trolls are the ones flooding the sites. These sites are geared towards engagement so that they can lure in advertisers and they can make money. So it's not like they want to be unbiased. It's not like they even want to hate Harry and Meghan. It's all about the money. When they can get people who are fired up, and who's more fired up than trolls who are in their grandmother's basements with no jobs and nothing to do, and they've decided, I want to be racist and misogynistic, and I want to go ahead and target someone, and I want to be validated in those choices. They go to places like Newsweek, like other platforms that conduct these very biased polls, and they flood the engagement. They flood it with engagement. Then those sites then show their numbers and their metrics to advertisers and say, hey, you should put your links on my page, and you should put your advertisements on my blog, and you should put your advertisements in my magazine because we have engagement. And then when advertisers see that, they say, great, gonna place an ad there. Money, money, money. And so it's all about a transaction, but it is given no consideration to actual people who are harmed by this stuff. So those polls are definitely flooded by trolls, and they're not even geared towards an unbiased audience. They're intentionally geared towards people who are going to get fired up out of their hatred and flood with engagement. That's just it. That's why those YouTube channels that won't go anywhere, no matter how much you report them for their very sadistic behavior and their outright lies and misinformation, that's why they don't go anywhere. Next, point number 3. Hour said that neither of these people, Harry or Meghan, are intellectuals, while adding, I don't say that to be insulting or shady. Meghan has a bachelor's degree. She received a bachelor's degree in theater and international studies from Northwestern University School of Communication. Alongside her degree, Meghan completed an internship at the American Embassy in Buenos Aires and studied for 1 term in Spain. She is also fluent in Spanish. She is an intellectual. But let me just tell you this. Just because she's gorgeous, just because she's talented, doesn't mean she's not smart. And it's stereotypes like that that led Meghan to creating her widely acclaimed and highly successful podcast, Archetypes, to dispel archetypes and stereotypes that hinder women. Just because she's beautiful doesn't mean she's not smart, sweetheart. Also, maybe Harry didn't graduate from college, but do you really think a prince didn't receive a top-tier education? He actually details it in his book. Maybe he wasn't the best at school, but I highly doubt an intellectual like Meghan would fall for someone in a dunce cap. He's no stupid person either. Look at all he's accomplished. Look at all she's accomplished. To say that they're not intellectuals, meanwhile, you've done zero research and you don't know them, nor have you seen anything that either of them have accomplished separately or together yourself. 4. The lead PR also told the Times, quote, "The real issue is that Americans don't like their royals acting like reality TV stars." I thought this one was particularly funny. Here's why. 2 of these things cannot exist at the same time. Let's break the sentence down. The real issue is that Americans don't like their royals acting like reality TV stars. Americans invented toxic ass reality TV. If there's anything we love more than anything else, it's some toxic shit on TV. Give us a running cameraman, give us some behind the scenes cussing out people with some good captions, and we're there. We watch Jersey Shore, we watch The Hills, The City, Flavor of Love. We watch it all. Big Brother, Survivor, Americans love toxic TV shit. Not only that, but people consider the Kardashians American royalty. They are the most successful reality TV family ever. When you put American in the sentence with a reality TV, you have a union made in toxicity bliss. But here's the point I want to make. Harry and Meghan haven't done anything regarding reality TV. A docuseries is not reality TV. And honestly, Brenner, you are a co-founder of a New York-based agency, the lead PR. You are a co-founder of a PR agency, and you don't know the difference between a docuseries and a reality TV show? My God, I hope your clients are listening to you say that. Do you know how to market your clients well? Do you know how to pitch your clients? If you don't even know what the difference is between different types of projects, are you able to find opportunities to make them a lot of money if you won't even look in the direction of a docuseries because you don't know the difference between a docuseries and reality TV? There was nothing reality TV about their interviews. It's interesting because these, what looks on paper to be highly successful people, don't seem to know anything. A docuseries and a reality TV show are 2 very different things. And for you to not know the difference in that, but you work in entertainment as a co-founder of a PR agency in New York, I hope your clients saw that. And I hope they head right on out and find another PR agency who's going to market them the right way. Second, Americans don't like their royals, full stop. Americans don't have royals, boo. There's a reason for that. We got the hell out of there. We are no longer part of the monarchy. There's a reason for that. We fought a whole war to make sure that we wouldn't be considered part of a monarchy. Americans don't have royals. We don't give a shit how the royals act because we don't care. That's the thing. You saw what happened to Will and Kate when they went to Boston? in addition to people just being completely indifferent to their presence, people actually intentionally booed them. Americans don't care about the royal family. That's the thing. Why do you think Meghan didn't really know that much about them? None of us really do. The only reason a lot of us pay attention to the royal family is because of, and that's the incentive. I didn't really care that much about the royal family. After Diana passed, I was just like, okay, my interest is gone. Like, she was the only reason that I was even concerned with them in the first place. I thought she was great. I thought she was awesome. But as far as Americans' preference on royalty, why would royalty give a shit what we think at all? They consider us to be traitors. And I don't know how they would consider my black ass to be a traitor, because I was brought here on a boat where my ancestors were against their will. So that obviously don't apply to me. But overall, the monarchy considers Americans to be traitors. So to think that in any way, shape, or form, Americans have a preference on how royals behave, or in any way consider the royals with reverence, that's actually pretty funny, because the majority of us think of it as just dressing up. They're all just playing make-believe, and everybody's going along with it. Now, I can't speak for all Americans, but as a Texan, I consider myself well equipped to say, Americans don't give a shit what the royal family is doing. We went and got our American princess, and we brought her ass back. Y'all wasn't nice to her. We said, okay, come on back and be great over here. And bring your little fine husband with you, girl. We ain't never gonna be mad about some good looking people, okay? So that's the thing. If they don't want to go over there and eat beans on toast, we said, come on back here where you can have some good old bacon and eggs. You don't have to be over there, girl. You don't have to drink no more Earl Grey, girl. Get you a smoothie. Like, we went over there and got our girl and brought her back. And y'all need to bring her dress on back as well. Y'all don't want her, then bring her wedding dress back. You didn't pay for it. Pay her for her dress. So anyway, I said all of that to say, Americans don't have a preference on how the royal family acts because we don't care about them at all. And I think it's that kind of indifference that Americans have to the royalty that makes them so damn mad. And it reminds you that the majority of the world don't really think that much of the royals. Like, keep in mind, the reason they have global impact is because they worked for it. So the same people you are claiming are frustrated and burnt out on stories about them are the same people who are praising them, awarding them, rewarding them, and singing their praises for all the work that they've done in society. I think you need to check your sources. It's interesting because you are the co-founder of a New York-based PR agency. I would think that you would know better. You're in New York City. If anybody doesn't give a damn about royals, it's y'all's ass. The East Coast is indifferent to anyone outside of the East Coast. Like, if a country doesn't pertain to my line of work, I ain't interested. That's pretty much how New Yorkers don't even care about the rest of America. What make you think they care about y'all's asses? Like, New York don't care about Americans no more than they care about the royal family. They're just like, the world centers around New York to New Yorkers. And that's why the rest of the country be mad at them. But you know what? I respect it because I'm a Texan. I understand pride in where you come from. Decided to get out in the streets and embarrass me. I'm still very proud of where I come from, Texas. But I said all that to say, this whole article, I'm expecting, since this narrative has been running for a little while, I'm expecting that this whole article is going to be filled with something that can give a little credence to why people are saying they're whining and folks are exhausted and frustrated with them whining. But again, and I said I'm not going to go there, again, when you shame people for calling out a toxic system, you're enabling that system. And so although they got away, other victims won't be so lucky, just like other victims weren't so lucky before them. Why must people, because you don't share the same experience, try and silence people who have just been honest about what they've been through? And I'm embarrassed that someone from New York would know better than that. We are all about independence over here. We are all about being able to use your voice. Free speech is one of the main drawing points from people from other countries coming to America, that people can actually express themselves here. So why would we ever shame victims of abuse and oppression for speaking out, especially when it's not somebody that we just respect? I don't use Newsweek often, but I did find that they compiled the list of issues that support this narrative pretty well so that I could address all facts. Harry and Meghan docuseries was very successful, as well as the book Spare. Harry and Meghan don't need personal ratings because they are private citizens. However, the media platforms that are conducting these polls are very biased, and they are geared towards extreme trolls who are fueled by hatred, misogyny, and racism in order to get engagement, in order to attract advertisers to put their advertisements on their blogs or whatever they are so that they can make money. It's not really trying to be unbiased, and they're using these numbers of of approval ratings for private citizens, the same way they did Hillary Clinton. As far as Harry and Meghan not being intellectuals, Meghan has a bachelor's degree in international studies as well as in theater. She also conducted an internship at the American Embassy in Buenos Aires. She's also fluent in Spanish. And as far as Americans not liking royals acting like reality TV stars, Americans love reality TV stars. I don't know where the hell you've been. We actually made a reality TV family, a whole bunch of billionaires, because we like mess. Not proud, it's just a fact. And in country, we are not in your monarchy. And so to say that we have any preference on how the royal family acts is absurd, because we don't give a damn. And for you to be in the on the East Coast, in New York City no less, you are an embarrassment to the East Coast, to New York, and to Americans at large. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like the video and leave your comments in the comment section of what you thought about this article. Please feel free to give me your opinion on everything that we've talked about today, as well as this narrative that people are sick of their whining. I find it to be quite absurd, considering they haven't said boo since Spare. What are you sick of? Nobody said anything in a month. If you're still going back reading the book and watching the docuseries, that's on you, boo. Pause it. Go do something else. Go do something outside. Go touch some grass. So anyway, I hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye. Dropping in here to say thank you so much to everyone who donated to the Invictus Games, my trip to Invictus Games. I can't wait to cover the games, cover my experience, and everything that I'm going to do while in Germany. I am learning German. I wanted to say a very special thank you to Merlene Williams and Leola Brown, two of the biggest donors towards my trip to Invictus. Thank you so much. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you both. You have no idea how impactful that has been in planning this trip, and I really appreciate everybody who has sent super stickers, super chats, become a member, or even just send a donation via Venmo or Cash App. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to show you everything that I experienced at Invictus. Once again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the channel.